My name is Ivana Lukic, and I'm a maritime planning and policy consultant at a consultancy called ASPER Sustainable Projects in Berlin. We're working on topics of maritime spatial planning, maritime policy, ocean multi-use, and offshore renewable energy development. ASPER is also secretariat to the SUBMARINER Network for Blue Growth, which is the communication and cooperation platform for actors and initiatives in the Baltic Sea region and beyond, involved in sustainable and innovative uses of marine resources, including smart combinations with offshore wind farms. Now, offshore wind is one of the key elements in the clean energy mix needed in order to reach the Paris Agreement and renewable energy targets in order to combat the climate change. Now, 15 world countries already have offshore wind, and 162 offshore wind farms are already developed in the world. In the Baltic Sea, for example, we have 2 gigawatts already installed. However, predictions for 2030 are that we will have 9 gigawatts, huge increase. And by 2050, we should have 85. Now, those are large numbers. It means that big developments are coming and are very much needed. However, the offshore space and the coastal space is getting scarce. There are lots of traditional existing uses in there, and really these new developments are seeking space and they're seeking acceptance from the existing users and local communities as well. Maritime spatial planning has been used for the last 2 decades as a multi-objective and multi-actor participatory approach that can minimize conflicts between ocean users and maximize synergies. Now, MSP has been recognized by both governments and industry as a tool that can improve the level of certainty, transparency, and predictability of private investments. It does so by guiding site selection, streamlining development through mitigating litigation risks, speeding up delivery and investment, and easing the permitting process. For example, in the Dutch North Sea plan cut the cost of offshore wind permits by 2/3. MSP is crucial to the socially responsible advancement of offshore renewable energies, and it can ensure conflict reduction and maximization of synergies, establishing a base for the application of multi-use approach. Now, multi-use looks at synergies between different uses. It looks for a more space efficient use of ocean areas. Some examples are combination between fisheries, certain types of fisheries, and offshore wind, or offshore wind farms combined with aquaculture, and offshore wind farms combined with tourism, with both doors. As such, ocean multi-use is a radical change from the exclusive resource rights to an inclusive sharing of resources by 2 or more users. There are projects that are dealing with this concept. For example, United is really looking to develop demonstration pilots and demonstrate what are the benefits and what are the impacts of ocean multi-use. 4 of the pilots are actually involving offshore wind farms, solar combined with seaweed, mussels, and so on. So those are really trying to test multi-use in the real environment and demonstrate viability of multi-use systems. Now, this is an example. It's me on the offshore wind farm, an example showing that offshore combination between offshore wind farms and tourism is possible through careful siting, careful involvement of local tourism, a real participatory process. And this wind farm is actually cooperatively owned. Half of it is owned by the local communities that are organizing these tours to the offshore wind farm. Thus, the benefits are really ending up locally. Therefore, multi-use should be an integral part of MSP. Innovative multi-use concepts will have a key role in reconciling different priorities: decarbonization, food security, nature protection. And nature-based inclusive multi-use is becoming a norm in several countries, including the Netherlands, Japan, and multi-use demonstration sites are identified also in Portugal. However, governments have a key role in driving pragmatic solutions, because this is also a question of fishing quota, insurance, safety zones, and so on, and these questions go beyond MSP only. MSP and multi-use should ensure more equitable and inclusive development, ensure a just, inclusive, and equitable integration of offshore renewable energies, and deliver socioeconomic benefits to coastal communities, a broadened social development as well. Now, those are some recommendations for a cross-border and transnational planning. And two key things are, I think that there is a need for continuous cooperation structures on the sea basin level. An example of it is the North Sea Energy Initiative. Such initiatives could be replicated to other sea basins, but they need to be followed up. They need continuous support, continuous energy. Scaling up of multi-stakeholder communities of practice is also needed. There is one example in the Netherlands that could be scaled up further, and such that is an example of really governments, private industries, SMEs, research institutes working together, building trust in order to really generate ideas and work on their implementation jointly. Therefore, there is an ongoing commitment. Topics of transnational relevance that could be taken up by these groups and by the regional programmes are large offshore wind projects that are crossing borders, then energy islands that will also cross borders, and integrated hybrid grid solutions that we already have in place, such as, for example, Krieger's flag being shared between Germany and Denmark. How are these taken up in MSP? Planning collaboration across border is really needed. Planning criteria and offshore renewable energy permitting procedures need to be compatible across borders. And same stands for the data as well, that needs to be harmonized. Proactive knowledge exchange is needed, especially for innovative solutions such as multi-use, and sharing the results of these pilot test examples. MSP is in place in member states. However, the question now is, how do we adapt plans, and how do we improve the plans, and how do we do that in a consistent manner across borders? Now, ecosystem-based MSP requires also a transnational approach, because nature is crossing borders and it's not respecting legal boundaries. There is the need for proper consideration of species connectivity, and offshore renewable energy impacts are also crossing borders. Therefore, there is a need for common environmental impact assessment approaches and common also understanding and interpretation of these results, because for now these are differing across countries. That's for me today. Thank you very much, and feel free to get in touch with me via the email below. Thank you.